up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video, and today we're going to talk about baits for August. And I think we're going to do a couple of these because I feel like sometimes I just don't give you guys enough information to go along with the baits. So I kind of want to touch on some of that a little bit, give you some more ideas to try and help you catch more fish. That's really kind of the point of the channel. That's what we're going to do. If you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down there. Help everybody get to our goal of 10,000. I think it's everybody on the channel's goal because when we get there, we're going to have a giveaway. Don't know what it is yet, but we're going to have one. Little housekeeping real quick. Because I think something I said in the last video was taken wrong. Nobody in my family died. I just said it was a tough weekend. Mostly because the driving to my mom's house and back is quite a drive. And then they had one of the freeways closed coming home. So we had to drive around, and then with all the extra traffic being diverted, it was a mess. Anyway, so it took us 2 extra hours, and we went out to have a drink the night before when we were done, and we had a whole lot more than a drink. So we were, a little under the weather, if you know what I mean. So getting into August baits. August, for some of you, is going to be the end of summer and we're transitioning. We see transitions going on here, okay? They're not necessarily maybe the types of transitions you think they are, but things do change. We're going to talk about some of those, and yesterday I said one of the baits would be represented in this video, and it is, and that is going to be my football jig. Yesterday we talked about kind of stroking a jig, ripping it off the bottom, letting it settle back down. Okay, today we're going to talk just a jig in August is a great bait to catch big fish on, especially fish that are a little deeper. So this is the one I showed you yesterday, is my compact, and if it's my everyday fishing jig, this is how I like to have it set up. Now this jig isn't quite ready for me because I like to butcher it a bit. Now when I say butcher, I'm going to pick some spots. I'm going to trim some skirt out of it to thin it out because I want my material to fluff and have the freedom to move around a little bit more. So by doing that, you'll see here there's a bunch of shorter strands, and basically it got a haircut, right? So when that bait settles on the bottom, those shorter strands are going to puff out. There's not as many strands long, so it's going to allow a little more flowing movement to the skirt. I like that secondary movement in my jigs. Now the one other thing I might do is just kind of shorten this just a wee bit so that the skirt is not interfering with the movement of the trailer. Now it's still summer, so most of us are dealing with warmer water. Okay, this is much more where I want that jig now. Okay, so the skirt still going back behind the hook a bit. Okay, it doesn't need to be a lot. That compact trailer on there, that is that rage tail, what do they call it? Rage chunk. Okay, this is a green pumpkin jig, and that is a Falcon Lake craw. So it's green pumpkin on one side, it's got some red in it, the claws are real red. Just something that I find the fish like a lot this time of year. There's another color I'm going to give you in this video also that can be very, very good. Anyway, we're going to fish this on offshore stuff. You can also do it on points. I like long, slow tapering points for this technique in the heat of summer. Somewhere where those fish can set up and hang out and be cooler and also be out of the sunlight. So you got to think the fish don't like the high sun. A lot of times for most of us, that's when we can fish, is when the sun's up. right? So we need to think about where those fish are going to position, and for those fish to be comfortable, they don't like the bright sun unless it's cold, and that's wintertime. This is summertime. So you got to look at the depth of water penetration by the sun. That's usually my starting point, and then I work out. Okay, so I'll tell you, on most of my lakes in this area, it's going to be 12 to 16 plus feet in most cases. Okay, Clear Lake, Berryessa, same thing. Oroville, Shasta could be a little bit deeper, but 16 feet generally is going to break light penetration and provide shade at some point in most of my lakes. Okay, unless you're in a glacier style lake, maybe Oregon, Washington, maybe up on some of the Great Lakes where it's clear, you can see further down. You can base it by how far you can see down, okay? And then just go a little deeper. This is a great bait to fish in rock piles. Again, hard bottom spots. I talk about it all the time. Hard bottom spots are a key thing. Now, you can fish the jig in the summertime a lot of ways, and we went over yesterday, so I'm not really going to cover that again because we covered it yesterday. So my typical couple of retrieves I will do this time of year, and they'll vary. If they're rock piles, I like to pop it up. Dragging in rock piles tends to drag your jig into a snag. So I'd rather pop it up a little bit and let it settle. Pop it up a little bit and let it settle. Not as much as yesterday. This is a light pop pop, like it's scurrying. Just two little boop boop, kind of, pull it off the rock and let it drop down. That kind of thing. Okay, the other one is if I'm not in a rock pile, I might just slow reel the jig. I still like these big kickers this time of year on my jig. Okay? So let's talk shallow for a minute. Maybe you're in a grass-fed lake and you don't have deep water and you're gonna fish shallow. Well, for some reason, there's two colors I like, and that Falcon Lake Craw is one of them, right? Green pumpkin with red. The other one I really like is this one here, and this is a flapping hog. This is the bigger one. And the color is called watermelon with copper orange with red. Okay, there you see it. I will give you the number. It is 956. I don't know what it is, other than I'm anticipating that the crawdads are starting to change color this time of year, and for some reason they really key in on that green pumpkin with orange or green pumpkin red, depending on your body of water. Could be different based on different types of crawdads, but around here, that's what I have. So that's going to lead us back into an alternative on those spots where we're fishing the deeper jig. Maybe not as much in the rock piles, but on hard bottom areas, long, slow tapering points, that kind of thing. And you can actually fish this shallow too. If you got a lake with a lot of docks that are creating shade, this is a great one for that. I meant to grab. This is going to take us a little bit more down the finesse approach. And that is going to be the Beastie Bug Junior or the Beastie Bug. Okay, now the nice thing about the Beastie Bug, there's that green pumpkin with orange again, folks. Okay, I don't have it in this size, but that's what I would be looking for. It's called Alabama Craw. One thing that I like to do with the Beastie Bug, and I'm sure my regular viewers are going to know this, but this is one of the most incredible baits on a Ned head. This is the one I like to throw. It's also made by Fat Pack Baits. This is the Toadstool Pro Ned. Okay, it's got a good hook on it. This is a 1/16 ounce. I still like the lighter weights because we're going to use this for a couple of different things. Okay, you can use it for that 2.8 Beastie Bug Junior, and then rather than everybody else who's throwing a little small cigar looking Ned head, you have a Ned head that is standing straight up and down, and those kickers are up in the air. Okay, you can use that 3.8 as well. This hook fits the 3. I don't know if I can show you this with my hand. There we go. Okay, it fits the bait well. You can also trim it down a little bit if you want to do that, and you get the benefit of the bigger claws and the bigger body up here. But this is a good way to use a secondary in an area where you're catching fish, or if you're around docks and believe there are bigger fish down there, or if you see them on your forward facing sonar. Great presentation to get some good bites this time of year. Now, I said you were going to get an alternative, and I'm going to give you one. And I'm going to give you a couple of baits you can use for this. Okay, and that is very simply, that's the Fat Pack Baits Fat Bat. That's that freaking purple pumpkin eater that I like so much. Green pumpkin on the bottom, purple on top with some red flake and fine red flake and purple flake. So it looks really good, really natural. You put that on that Ned head, and you've got a bigger Ned bait. Look, fish are aggressive. The water's warm this time of year. You want to give them a little bit of a meal. Not saying you can't break it down. You can cut this down if you need to. I like to throw a 5-inch stick bait on a Ned head this time of year. I like to throw it in the winter too, okay? Don't be telling everybody how effective that can be. This is between us. I'm gonna start here, probably with this one right now this time of year. That's the 3.8 Beastie Bug. There's the Beastie Bug Junior. Okay, we've all seen this in the pool. If I need to do it again with a 3.8 or some other baits, I will, but we've all seen the 2.8 Beastie Bug Junior in the pool and how ridiculously awesome that thing is on that Ned head. All right, so I think I need to back up that and the Strike King Rage Bug. Okay, we're flipping, pitching, punching. It's for getting into the weed. The bodies of water I fish on have big fish, so I kind of like the bigger sizes. Both this and this come in a regular size. Okay, I use the big ones because of where I'm at, the fish I have in there, and the forage that I have in my body of water. And quite honestly, if you look at that magnum size, it's really not that big. Okay, that's kind of a small crawdad, right? I mean, it's 4 inches. If you go with the Fat Pack Baits, 3.8. That's the nice thing about the 3.8. You can punch 3.8. You can throw it on a Ned rig. You can flip it. You can throw it into wood. You can do just about anything you want. You're a free rig guy? There's your bait right there. Right? We all know these are buoyant, which means they float. They're a slow float. On the Ned head, they will stand straight up. On a free rig, they will slowly meander down with the claws up and slowly kicking. Great way to catch bass in August. So those are my picks for August for our, call it our bottom bouncing baits. Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna do a video on our reaction baits because the video gets too long if I try and explain things when I do these, so I'd really rather explain so you guys know what to do with them. You have a better chance of catching some good fish. I think these are some really good tips, and quite honestly, these Fat Packs, you can drop shot this, you can free rig this one, you can use them as trailers. I mean, these things are just phenomenal, okay? The price is right, they come scented, there's great colors, and you've seen them in the water, right? Regardless of whether they're on a jig or they're on a Ned head or they're on a Texas rig, they've looked good and performed well no matter what. Now that 2.8, if you are in a lake with smaller fish and you are going to go down to a Kitech jig or the Beast Coast open water sniper type jig, you know, a little finesse jig, or even the Pee-wee by Jewel Baits. I whacked them on my local lake, largemouth. Had one of my better bags of the year with that jig and the Beastie Bug Junior trailer. Just a phenomenal trailer bait. And depending on your size, you go the 3.8 or the 2.8. The 2.8 works well on the Kitex. The 2.8 also works well on the Kitex. You just need to decide your size of fish, the forage in your lake, and pick appropriately, and you're going to find success. All right, I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next.